Hey everybody. Okay, so hi. I'm here in Nashville, wishing you a merry, happy holiday season, and wanted to talk to you about some of my favorite things, some gift ideas for brass players, for musicians, because you know, I've acquired many things over the years. Some of them are very useful, some of them not at all. So I thought today I could talk to you about some of my favorite things that I've come across. Before we get into it, I do want to mention that I know some of the people who've created these things personally. I've worked with them in the past, maybe will in the future, on paid sponsorships and stuff. This video is completely unsponsored. Nobody asked me to put these things on the list. This is completely my own opinions. So, first we have these awesome Rochut backing tracks by Aaron Cundiff. So, this is such an awesome resource. It's basically these really cool play-along tracks to you know, our Bordoni Rochut etudes that we know and love as brass players. So she's made this album that you can play along with. It's $15 for the whole album, but then for $20 you can get a double album which transposes them all into tenor clef. I'll link to everything in the description of how to order these things and get them, but this is such a cool one. Next up we have the Flic-Grip. So this works with potentially something that you already have. If you have Fourscore for an iPad, which is the sheet music reading app we have, you click the side of the screen to turn the page. Of course, sometimes you can't do that, and so there's something like the Page Flip, which is a Bluetooth foot pedal, which turns the pages. Now, there is another way. It's called the Flic, F-L-I-C, and it is this little Bluetooth button that you can program to do all sorts of things, but it also works with Fourscore to turn pages. And so, over at TEA Industries, they've created this 3D printed holder for this Flic page turner, and it fits right in your hand where you would already be holding your trombone, and so while you're playing you don't need to worry about foot pedals or anything. You can walk around, and whenever you're ready you just slightly press on two of your fingers that are already there holding the instrument, and it'll turn the page. So that's such a cool one. I had them make me a custom one for my trombone a little while ago, and it's been awesome. So definitely recommend the Flic-Grip. Moving on, there's my mute bag. So maybe you've seen me talk about this or use this before. They have a smaller one for, you know, trumpets, bigger ones for trombones and bass trombones and things. But I don't actually use them for mutes at all. I use them for cables and different gear. And so it's just an awesome bag, sustainably made, you know, woman-owned company. It's a really good thing. So check out my mute bag. It's the only way to go for mute bags. Next up, we have DF Music's Overture Program. This is an interesting one. So this is for beginner instrumentalists, and it is basically an alternative to a rental program. They won't say this, but I will. All rental programs are scams. It's just the truth. It's very predatory. They are pretending that these old used instruments are worth thousands of dollars, and so that's where they can charge you $100 a month or whatever it is to rent the instrument. Those instruments are not worth that. They were never worth that, but even if they were new, but these ones are not. So the Overture Program is a really cool thing if you know anybody who's starting out an instrument but doesn't want to take on all of the risk of buying one outright. They basically sell these instruments at a very low cost, maybe $300, $400, and then if your student doesn't want to continue on, within the first year they'll buy it back at a percentage of the cost that is less than it would be if you were doing any rental program. So it's just a really cool program, and I want people to know about it as an alternative to these predatory rental schemes. So there you go. That's the Overture Program by DF Music. Definitely one of my favorite things this year. They're just getting started with that. Next up, I have some gear. So first up, this is a really cool thing. It is just a little piece of hardware that turns this, which is a mic clip. You put a microphone in there, and usually it is 5/8 of an inch. That's like the connector piece. And so any mic stand, it's standardized. Go to any venue, any bar, any recording studio, that you can put your mic clip on it. However, I am traveling light. I am traveling all over the place, and sometimes weird things happen. And so this little adapter changes it from a mic stand to a tripod, which is a much smaller clip. So that's a 1/4 inch, I believe. So we just tie that right in there. And now we take this tripod, this little mini tripod with the tripod clip, and I can connect that to that. And just like that, I now have a mini little mic stand. Just like that. So this is meant for a camera or lighting or something like that, and now I can mount a microphone to it. And the opposite is true with the other version of this. So instead of going from a tripod, you go from a mic stand. So now any mic stand can be a tripod, and you can put a camera or put lighting on it. So with just these little tiny pieces of hardware, super lightweight, super cheap, it's just a really good thing to have in your bag if you're doing any of this kind of audio video stuff for a living. So that's such a cool one. Next we have the Joby micro stand, and it's just this tiny little piece of hardware, a little stand. This one's for a phone, but it extends as much as you need to fit a phone in there. And then it has a little tripod as well, which again, I could use with this mic stand if I wanted to. It's the tiniest little thing and just so useful. So that I take with me everywhere because it's so easy to. And then next I have these little USB, I'm actually using one right now on my light. Let me unplug it so I could show you. This little USB 90-degree piece, and so it takes your regular USB and turns it into a 90-degree angle, and so you can put them up against walls. If you've ever tried to plug in a Nintendo Switch while playing it and prop it up, the power cable is on the bottom of it. So anything like that, now you have another option. It's just like such an easy little piece that makes my life so much easier. And along those lines, here's another little piece of tech. It is a regular block where you plug in a phone or any USB device, except it has both USB A and C. Right now we're in this weird kind of middle phase where everything's converting over to USB-C, but all of our old hardware uses USB A. And so this is just a really nice thing where I no longer have to carry multiple versions of the same thing. I can just carry the one. So I have a couple of these, and that's all you need if it does both. All right, finally, I want to end with this awesome little tool. This is an interface. It's called the Comica AD3 LinkFlex. And what's different, usually these things, you plug a microphone in here. This one has two, so you could do stereo microphones. And usually plugs into your computer, and then you use your recording software on there. This one plugs into a DSLR camera, so you can record high-end audio with my nice microphone straight into a camera, or you put a little adapter onto it, and now you can plug it straight into your phone. This is the only one I found work with Android phones, iPhones, with TikTok, with all of these different things. It's the only one I found to work. You have a headphone jack, so if I have this plugged into my phone, not only can I hear my microphone, I can also hear the input coming from the phone, so I can play along with something that's happening on the phone and record separately. Stereo or mono, so we could do one microphone or two at the same time. And then it has different modes for DSLR or a phone, just because the actual hardware is different. So usually you would need an adapter to switch between plugging into a camera or straight into your phone, and this one just has a little toggle switch that does it for you. Never seen that before either. That's super cool. And then finally, it has phantom power. So for microphones that need a power source, it actually has an internal battery, and by just turning that on, you can see the red light indicates that it is adding power to the microphones there. It's a really powerful, very compact interface and field recorder. I do want to show you one last thing. It looks like a piano, looks like a keyboard, right? It is actually not. It is a MIDI controller, which means it doesn't have speakers. It doesn't play any audio. So if you want to hear the notes that you're playing, which you likely do, you have to plug it into a computer. So you use the USB, and that powers it. There's no power cable either. It's very compact. You just plug it into a computer. It pulls the power from that, and it also sends the MIDI signals to tell it which notes to produce on the computer. And then the computer speakers will play the sound. that is kind of annoying because you have to plug it into a computer every time you want to hear it play. And so my final favorite thing of the year is throw a USB-C adapter on the MIDI cable and plug it into the phone, and instantly it starts to light up because it's pulling power just from my phone. And this app is called MIDI Keys. I mean, it's there's a lot of different ones you can find, but this one was the first one I found. Seems to work great. And now so the sound is actually coming out of my phone, but of course I can broadcast that to my car audio or big speakers or something. This also works with an iPad very, very well, all those apps as well. So now if I want to just quickly, play around on the piano, I don't have to pull out my laptop and pull out my speakers and hook everything up and troubleshoot. I can just plug it straight in. And again, there is nothing plugged into power here. The only thing that's powering it is my phone. So I can actually take these keys and the phone and that one cable connecting the two out of the car, go anywhere. It's completely mobile and it works pretty well. So that's my final favorite thing of the year. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to the Patreon donors for making all these videos possible. If you want to help out as well, go to patreon.com/classicaltrombone. I'm posting all sorts of updates on my tour over there. And yeah, find me throughout the week on Instagram and TikTok at Classical Trombone. And yeah, I'll see you all real soon. Peace.